Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Jeff from DirtyPoolPinball. I'm here to talk about Scorbit.
Look at that.
You're here.
We took advantage of it.
We totally planned every bit of this and didn't set it up 24 hours ago.
Wonderfully kismet, the fact that I happen to be, so I'm based in New York, and I happen to be on the West Coast just coming out of Indisk, and we were chatting on Instagram and talking about doing this, and I didn't put two and two together that you were here in LA, and then you were just like, well, aren't you here for Indisk? And I was like, dude, let's do it in person.
Yeah, come over to my house.
It's always better in person. And you have an awesome house. You've got awesome machines. I'm very jealous.
Yeah, I'm not going to human traffic you.
Yeah. Please, thank you. My children, thank you for that.
Yeah. So Scorbit has changed a lot since the first iteration of it.
It's been a journey.
You and I talked a little bit in our little pre-chat here. Yeah. I remember seeing Scorbit on a live stream where somebody had points from a System 11 game just like racking up in real time. And I was
TX
like,
Sector?
I think it was, I want to say Grand Lizard, honestly.
Oh, no, TX Sector's a Gottlieb, right? No, Grand Lizard, it's System 11, right? Yep.
It was magic.
Yep.
I felt like it was like some sort of dark magic. And for a second, I was like, is this like an OBS script or something? Like, what is going on? So I did a little research, found out it was this thing called Scorbit. And then I was like, oh, cool. And that was it.
Yep.
That was 6 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, well,
5 years ago? It was
about 5 years ago. Yeah, we launched in September 2020. So, so.
The platform has gone under an extreme upgrade recently.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Should we dive into the history of what Scorbit is before we get into where the future is?
Sure, absolutely. And I can kind of give a quick background. So I got into pinball in the early 2010s, I think literally 2010 or so. I was in San Francisco, and me and one of the Scorbit co-founders, Brian O'Neill, and his wife, Allison O'Neill, who are both active tournament players, and they're much better than I am. They didn't know pinball either, and we started playing at a dive bar in San Francisco.
I was going to ask, was it free gold watch? But that's not a dive bar.
Well, because that does come in the story. So we were playing at Molotov's in the Lower Haight in San Francisco, which had a just awesome dive bar. Do you remember the story when Google Glass was out, and there was a story in San Francisco about the woman who got harassed in a bar and kicked out of a bar for wearing Google Glass in it?
Wow, that's what it's famous for?
It was that bar, yeah. And they put up a sign, no Google Glass.
Google Glass.
It's funny. But anyway, I lived across the street. They had a Medieval Madness. We were out drinking one night, and it was like one of those, I'd always played, I knew of pinball, in the 80s, my dad took me on business trips and would drop me off in the game room at the hotel while he went to his conference. And the ride the Ferris wheel, it drilled in my head from that in Atlanta. And so I knew pinball, but I didn't know how to play. I knew how to flip, but I didn't know how to start multi-ball. I didn't even know there were modes. I didn't know anything.
Sure.
So we started playing Medieval Madness, and it was one of those if I hit the castle a bunch of times, it blows up and I get a lot of points. Then went online and did more research about how to really win at Medieval Madness. And then in doing that, we met other people who were also into pinball, and then someone was like, well, there's a league starting up. And it was at Free Gold Watch.
Sure.
And so we joined blindly, having never played in a tournament, didn't even know IPA existed, anything.
This is the way to do it. If you know that there's a tournament going on, don't be afraid to dive into it.
Just go. And at that first night, so Free Gold Watch, which now has 60 machines or 50 machines.
That's a lot. Manu and Elias. I'm gonna mess up. I'm gonna mess up his buddy's name, but you guys both work so hard to keep those games kicking.
Manu's the best. I love Manu. But Free Gold Watch at the time.
Isaiah.
Okay, Free Gold Watch at the time had, I think it was 6 machines.
Wow.
And so we started a league based on maybe 6 or 8 machines. It's very small. And I'm playing with somebody, and turns out it's Andrei Mazenkov, former world champion. And he's just like, and Andre's so great. He's so nice.
Did you win?
No, I lost. But he told me what I did wrong, and started giving me tips, and was so coaching and was so helpful. And I just fell in love with the community. I have a background in community. It's so cheesy to say that now, but
you say you have a background in community?
Well, yeah, because in subculture and community, because I grew up in the punk hardcore scene on Long Island in New York as a teenager.
Gotcha.
And I was 17, and we had our own venue, and we booked the Bouncing Soul. We booked the Bouncing Souls and 7 Seconds and Fugazi, and we did these epic shows on Long Island, and it was all built around community. It was all built around this core group of people who just made stuff happen. And then later in my life, I worked in comic books, which also has that subculture community.
It's the Marvel thing, which we talked about.
So I just have been immersed in community for my whole life, and when I went to this pinball league, I saw it immediately, and then when I found out that there was competitions happening via the IFPA and there were pinball shows, it just tracked to my experience in the comic book community, where this is a nationwide and now worldwide community. and caught it at the right time. Like it was early, like Stern was coming out of the bad years and just rode that wave. And just
some interesting games came out of that period for sure.
Exactly. But just got into it at the right time and rode the wave when we started. We went to Pinburg. We went to every, obviously Expo, TPF, just started traveling, going to shows and having a great time and just loving the whole space.
So you could almost say that Scorbit kind of came out of the community of pinball on location play.
100%.
And this is a theme that's kind of important to where
to what we're doing
is going now.
Yeah. So like when I was in San Francisco, I was in a 1-bedroom apartment. You can imagine the space. I couldn't fit a pinball machine in my.
Sure.
Although there are people, my buddy Darren in San Francisco, I went to his apartment and he had like 8 machines. He had a Doctor Who in his closet.
You got to figure it out.
Like,
sometimes you just got to put a Who in a closet.
But but I fell in love with location pinball. I love the idea of like whenever I travel for business, I pull up Pinball Map.
Yeah.
And I see, okay, where are the cool spots? Where's the machine that I want to find, that weird machine that I've never played before?
Sure.
And stuff like that. So I just love location pinball. But anyway, so we started tinkering with stuff. And then basically like 2015, we got the idea of it would be really cool to make a device to connect pinball machines to the internet. Basically, Jay Adelson, our other co-founder, so Brian, me, and Jay founded Scorbit. We were at California Extreme and we were just, knocking around ideas. And the question was, could you connect a 80s machine to the internet and like extract the data and get it up to the cloud and what could you do then?
I mean, you can put a Cat5 cable on anything if you try hard enough, right?
Right, exactly. But what data does it send, right?
Yeah.
So we spent about 5 years researching it. We talked to, great techs and we talked to people who worked at Bally Williams and we got the same answer. It was like, well, yeah, you could do that, but it's really hard.
Why would you want to?
Which just motivated us more to do it. And so after about 5 years of research, September in 2020, we had designed the first Scorbit device called Scorbitron. I named it,
Nice.
but because I like the 50. We had our first go around was very more retro. Our old logo was more kind of nostalgic.
I mean, your current logo is a little retro,
a little retro, but a little more modern, a little more colorful, a little more like for the kids. When we had launched, the whole idea was, okay, you take this device and you can put it in a WPC machine, an Attack from Mars, or you can put it in a Meteor and be able to extract the scores out. And then we made an app that allowed you to save your scores automatically. And we started building leaderboards and things like that. And then the streaming community picked up on it because actually we were going to launch a TPF in March 2020.
Okay.
And then I remember it was like we went to...
You missed that. That was like a while ago.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was... Something happened in March 2020.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly. So it was like early March and we're like, maybe we should not do this now. And so...
Do you think that COVID impacted location playing pinball at all?
So we a little bit. So we stepped back and we launched in September 2020. We built some features aimed at home users specifically, or we saw people streaming. And so we built tools for streamers to be able to pull out scores. We're like, oh, wouldn't it be great if you could eliminate that camera that's on a DMD and just have the score on the screen?
Absolutely.
And so we built that. So we did that for about 3 years. It was before Insider Connected came out. I got a lot of questions like, why do you want to connect the pinball machine to the internet? Like a lot of questions. People just didn't get it. But the people who got it, got it.
Sure. I mean, you could say like, obviously Insider Connected has taken this concept.
When Insider Connected came out, a lot of people were like, oh, are you mad? Are you pissed off they're stealing your idea? And I was like, no.
This is an inevitable technology improvement for a game that now has LCD screens, that now has ARM processors.
It's going to happen no matter what. The fact that it took till the 2020s to happen was almost embarrassing. But
fair.
But so my response when people are like, oh, do you hate it? I'm like, no, I love it because it's helping to tell our story. It's validating what we're doing. And I no longer have to explain to people why you're connecting a machine to the internet. So thank you, Stern. That helped us.
And also, these companies, you have relationships with many of them now. So that's less of a... It's a collaborative experience because most of the pinball companies want to sell more pinball machines.
Exactly.
And a good way of doing that is getting more people into pinball. And a good way of doing that is having ease of use for some of the features that are up and coming in the new Scorbit.
Exactly. And so, so we built relationships with a bunch of manufacturers. We'd worked with JJP for a little while, then we stopped working with them. And then I've got good relationships with Seth and George and Zach and folks over at Stern. And so we keep them apprised of what we're doing and Guido and all that stuff. And but so we got to about like 2023, and this has been like a garage hobby project. It was not real. And I was working a day job, and Jay was overseeing kind of the most of the stuff, and we were just doing it out of the passion. And then we're like, well, we wonder if there's some way for us to turn this into a real business. Right?
Sure.
We were kind of at a crossroads. And so we spent about a year doing our homework and doing research and looking into stuff. And we realized, I took a step back. I was like, well, what do I love about pinball? And what are the things that motivate what we're doing here at Scorbit? And the answer I came up with were two things. Was one, that I love competition. Right, I got into it by going to league nights and tournaments and the community aspect of competition. And two, I love location pinball.
You did that very European, so I was born in England, so I feel like I should be
fascinating.
Doing that,
and I'm Long Island, so yeah. But so with those two things as kind of the guided point, like how can we leverage our technology to help location pinball and add something to the world of competition? And where we netted out with is that, coming from my own kind of personal experience too, was that I moved from San Francisco back to New York. I was playing at Sunshine. I was telling you earlier, I was in the Sunshine League that Greg Pavarelli ran.
Sunshine Laundromat, absolutely cool spot. You should check it out. Apparently, they have a new location that's very close to it.
Scrappleland. It's 40 machines. It's very cool. And Korean fried chicken also.
Are they 40 Ravens? That's the only reason
I was saying, I got here and he's wearing a Raven t-shirt. I only have 4 machines in my ownership, and one of them is a Raven. I have the Raven from Pinburg.
Oh, wow.
From the
very
Papa
specific.
Raven. Yes. So I love that machine. It's so good. Anyway, but so we looked at location pinball and competition. What can we do there? And in this time period, while we did Scorbit, I had children. And
you personally?
Oh, no, my wife did the
that makes
work.
more sense.
Yeah. But we were blessed with twins, and as I love them, they're fantastic. Playing in leagues, gone.
How do you pick a favorite?
I don't. I just pray one of them picks me as their favorite. I just keep buying my son. I keep buying my son Lego sets and keep buying my daughter stuffed animals and pray that I'll be the favorite. So I stopped being able to play in league. I stopped being able to travel to go to shows and play in tournaments, and like my IFA rank went down, and I was like, and I was so bummed out that I couldn't compete and I wasn't going to location. And so when we were doing that, kind of thought, how can Scorbit help that? And I heard so many stories from people who were like, oh yeah, I love competing against people, but I get so nervous, or I have anxiety. There's a lot of people who don't want to go to a big group of people, especially coming out of COVID.
Which is completely understandable.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
I hope if you've watched my channel and you are seeing this conversation going, it's super fun to play at leagues, and you don't need to go there and play good. The whole purpose is to kind of meet people and have a good time. And believe it or not, it is fun to play pinball and score big, but it is also fun to just not care, play pinball, and just enjoy the company of other people.
Totally, I agree with you. But for whatever reason, there's a population of people who told me that it's not for them.
Sure.
And so they're being underserved. But then there's a population of people like me who want to do it, who just physically can't. And so they're like, well, what if there was a way to build a competition system where you could compete on your own time?
Sure.
What if your favorite location had a tournament that was just always on? And what if you could win money in doing that instead of Whopper points or whatever it was? And we actually looked at Golden Tee. Are you familiar with Golden Tee?
Of course.
They have a tournament.
Zoom.
So a friend of ours, we were knocking around these ideas, ironically, I think at a pinball show, and a friend of ours from New Hampshire, this guy Derek, revealed, he was just like, years ago I was paying rent with my Golden Tee winnings. And we're like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, well, they have tournaments, and I would go to bar and I'd play in these things, and I'd make like $1,000 a month, and I'd pay my rent.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and so then we're just like, well, wait a minute. Okay, we've already built a device that connects the machines to the internet. We've built a cloud platform to take all that data and do stuff with it. We've built scoreboards and leaderboards.
Yeah. Now it's time to go play Golden Tee.
Exactly. I hate Golden Tee though. No offense to Golden Tee if you like it. I'm not a golf guy. But we're like, all we would need to do now is add the ability to spend money and then add the competition layer to it.
Right.
And then we did some work and we realized all right, well, if we did that and we did that across X number of public venues, locations, and we, you make assumptions when you're doing a business plan, so many people playing and so many people doing.
Well, you got to calculate some sort of metrics to have an idea.
Exactly. But then we stumbled. We realized that we had a pretty good business plan here. And so we went out, we raised some money, and we made Scorbit a real company now. We've got a staff, we're headquartered in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'm full-time working on it. And that led to Pinball Expo this past fall, where we kind of announced the Scorbit V2 platform, which now, it's got a new app designed from the ground up, And then
the tournament system is just a small part of that because you are now kind of a point of sale as well.
Yeah, well, so the thing is that if we wanted to create a tournament system that allowed you to buy an entry, kind of similar to Indisc where you buy entries and pump and dump, that sort of thing.
Everybody loves buying cards.
Yeah, exactly. But if we needed a way for people to be able to spend money on the app, and in order to do that, we would need to build a payment system. And so then as we were doing that, we're like, well, why wouldn't we just make this also be able to be a payment system for coin drop for locations? And we did a lot of research around the other solutions for digital payments and cards and things like that, and heard a lot of frustration from pinball operators and owners around that. Credit card fees stink. The ramp up costs. You got to buy a lot of equipment for some of those systems. Some of the systems are great. Don't get me wrong. You know, like they serve a purpose.
Sure.
But not everybody can use them.
So I'm sure a lot of people are watching this right now thinking, oh, well, all right, what's Scorbit's cut then?
Right. Well,
and the answer to that is
not on coin drop. We don't take anything because our whole thought was the credit card companies are an immovable object. It sucks to have to pay those fees. So what we do is we enable any operator or location that wants to use Scorbit for coin drop, they get 100% of the coin drop after the credit card fees happen.
There you go. And to put that into context, because it's a little confusing. So these tournaments are running, but the point of sale system that exists in these games can be used at any time, even when there is not a tournament running.
Correct.
But part of the arrangement for the location is that they have to run
Scorbit tournaments, right?
And how many tournaments per week, per month?
Whatever they want. It's customizable.
Okay.
So every location is different. Every operator is different. Every city with players is different. So we said we don't want to dictate to anybody what you have to do. Rather, let's build a set of tools that enable you to set up tournaments the way you want to. So if you have a league night that meets every Thursday night and you want to set up a one-night side tournament that's powered by Scorbit, do that.
Great.
If you want to set up, and also the other thing is that there's thousands of locations out there that have 2 machines, 3 machines. They can't host leagues. They can't host tournaments.
You can't put an IFPA league in a place that has less than some amount of games.
Right, exactly.
I don't do that. I think it's 10 or 8.
So that operator is not benefiting from any competition at all.
But now they can run a tournament with 2 games and have people that just really love the hell out of those games.
I don't know if they do it here in LA or if you've exposed it, but the whole Selfie League thing that happened.
I'm not familiar with this.
Oh, so Selfie League, actually, I think it was one of the places it started was when I was in San Francisco, was the idea where it was a asynchronous competition where you played by yourself and you took your picture next to the DMD to prove that you got the score.
Got it.
And it's a way for people to play on their own time. So some city, like in Brooklyn, there's a Selfie League. There's some other places. So essentially, this is similar to the Selfie League where you go and play on your own time. It allows you to have locations with a small number of machines, be able to monetize competitions. It's an additional cost, so you pay for the coin drop to play the game, and then you buy an entry, and then we have a revenue share with the operators on that tournament entry, and that's how we make our money.
Neat. And so you could expand this into new concepts and new types of tournaments as these play styles expand, because IFPA type tournaments are really kind of narrowed in on you can only play it a certain couple of ways. Like, of course, there's like match play and there's like card based and all the other different formats. But this kind of opens it up to like you said, non-linear timeline pinball, where you could just have the game open for a week, a month. Whoever gets the high score out of a month worth of play, and you can play it on as much as you want, as long as you're willing to buy entries.
And if you set it up, you can set up the jackpots to be 2 ways. You can either say, okay, we're gonna make a fixed jackpot where I'm gonna give away $200 or a tab at the bar or whatever it might be. Or you can do a progressive jackpot, which is the more entries that go in, the bigger the jackpot gets. So the more people are playing, the action gets better, the payout gets bigger. And we also enable the operators to adjust, who wins. You could say, because what you don't want is the old, like if you remember the old Stern Tops tournament system that they tried to do this similarly in the early 2000s, and it was whoever won first place won the money. And so like if you had one ringer in your town,
then
there was no fun for it.
It's like not good for anybody.
So we built in our system so you could say the top 3 win money, the top 4 win money. You can make the top 10 win money.
So and I just want to highlight this because this is like a really important kind of concept here, is that like instead of choosing to take money from like every single person that taps their card on there, instead you were like, you have to run a tournament, which is good because it brings people in to play more pinball, hopefully seeding more concepts of pinball with people, making them want to have games and go out and play more. So this is a very like proactive community building kind of pinball concept, even though you are making money from it.
But
it is expanding the concept of pinball.
We're not twirling our mustache making money off it.
No, and you are a business. You need to be making money.
And we have costs, and we have employees, and we have
Sure.
server costs. But the idea was, how can we build a business that sustains, that is able to fund what we're doing and reach, and ultimately our main goal, like I said, is to help location pinball and to help the pinball community and to be additive to it.
So this is an important segue here.
Yeah.
How much does it cost for Scorbit if you are an operator?
No money up front. So what we do is we work with operators to understand their location, their business, their locations, how many machines they have, and we've structured it in a way to give them the hardware that they need at no upfront cost. And what we just do is we recover the cost of that hardware through the revenue share on tournaments over time.
That was going to be my next question, because upfront costs implies that there is a secret language hiding behind it.
Right, and I'm not trying to be secret, and
For sure.
yeah. But the
not
idea,
nefariously, but it's just like there's additional language there.
So the idea is that you, and again, it's a motivator to run the tournaments, to have the revenue coming in, and that as the revenue comes in, we keep a small percentage of the revenue to pay off the hardware, but not all of it, mind you.
But this could be, I mean,
yeah.
if the place has 10 or 15 games, that's a lot of Scorbit modules.
Well, exactly, and it all depends on what the mix is. The good news is that for the different machines require different aspects of the modules. So some of them are more expensive, some of them are less expensive. You know, the price kind of varies. So we work with them to find the right mix of what it might be.
Okay.
And then sometimes, like, there's a place that might have 50 machines. We actually say, okay, let's start with 5. Right, like let's just get them set up and see what your community does, and slowly build up. Like, I don't want anyone to be overextended more so than they need to be.
For sure.
Yeah.
Has the system rolled out to any location games currently?
It has. So we are at 11 or 12 locations currently, and we're growing rapidly. So if you're in Brooklyn, we're in Rulo's. If you're in Tennessee, there's a great spot in Spring Hill called Quarter Bandits that we're in. Capital Pinball Parlor. I just visited that during Indisc. I flew up to Sacramento to check it out.
Nice.
And awesome place. Go check it
System
out.
was running?
The system was running.
Always good.
We're in 4 locations in Portland, the Zed, and a couple of pizza places.
What has the feedback been of of using the Scorbit system versus games that aren't on the Scorbit system?
Right now, early, because we're still in rollout beta phase. We're still kicking the tires. Actually, I was on a call this morning, and I'm like, we're just kind of starting the steam engine going, right? So, but so far, yeah, exactly. But so far, it's been positive. What's been great is that when this sort of thing, we put stuff out there, and I also run marketing for the company, and so like we put out, like in the app currently, you can add money to your account to go use coin drop at a participating location, but I haven't spread the word about that because we're not fully rolled out and stuff like that.
Right.
But then some dude in Portland
figured it out
and is playing John Wick at a pizza place in Portland, and like every couple of days I see him playing and using it, and like that's like the thing that makes your heart sing. It goes back to that magic thing. Like it's working. It's awesome. So
I think a lot of people can contest to that. Like paying for run-upping cards at like a bowling alley sucks.
Yep.
Going and putting a fucking handful of quarters in your pocket, super not fun.
Or you go to a location that's got tokens, and now you can't, and you've got a pocket full of tokens, and you got to leave, and you can only use them at that place.
Right.
And so so our hope is that,
which is good retention for an arcade.
Totally.
Though. So
totally, yeah, it makes you want to come back there. Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So is there the opportunity for businesses to like give discounted rates for their games through the app?
So yeah, kind of.
To promote people to come in and play?
We've got a bunch of different levers they can do. They can adjust the price of a game paid through Scorbit however they want to.
Okay.
So some operators have chosen to increase the price to cover the credit card fees. Of course. Which I don't blame them to do at all. And also because who cares, But an operator could say, if you're using Scorbit, it's 25 cents less. They totally could do that. So that's something they could absolutely do.
And there is incentive for them to do that because if they are making more money through the Scorbit platform, then they're getting more money.
And then also what we offer for operators and for venue owners is that because we're in the machine, like we're not like there's some other payment solutions that are just sending a pulse to the coin mech. Right. We're not doing that. We're in the machine's guts. We're in the memory. So we're putting a credit in the machine via memory. And so, but because we're in the memory of the machine, for a lot of them, we know everything that's going on in the machine. And so we have
you said that in such a like cryptic way.
So
are you in my games?
No, I'm not, but someday. So our operators have a web-based, kind of tool that they can use to manage their inventory. They can manage their pricing, set up tournaments, but also be able to see if a game is on or off.
Sure.
Which sometimes location operators might not know.
Credit dot.
But also credit dot. We've got a lot of requests for to be able to remotely switch the games from coin drop to free play.
Okay.
Because sometimes there are events that happen and they want to do
Absolutely.
that.
Or specific games. I know that Revenge of likes to set a handful of games of theirs on free play to help promote people to come in.
Exactly. Or if you're preparing for a tournament and you want to turn extra balls off, but just for that tournament, that in-person tournament, like an IPA tournament, having to open up the coin door and go through the service.
Right. So if you could just hit a universal switch for your games.
For us now, you go to the website, you click the box of each game, say turn off extra balls, go, and it sends the code out to turn the extra balls off on the machines automatically.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like that's a bit of a game changer. So like metrics and stats about the machine, how many plays per day, how much money's coming in, like all that stuff that you would think from a standard like kind of web application.
Sure. Yeah. So you would say that this is like pretty scalable for like, a mom and pop pizza shop that's got 2 games and also someplace that's got, hundreds of games like Vegas or something?
Exactly. I mean, I was talking to one venue owner who's got multiple locations in the Midwest and explained the whole no money up front. He's like, yeah, no, I'll pay you for them. And we're like, great, I like money, give me that.
I feel like that's you're still getting paid in the end for it, so it doesn't matter whether it comes in drizzling or
Again, it's like our goal is not to extract as much money from the pinball operators and twirl our mustache and go count our bank account.
Sure.
Our idea is to build a sustainable platform that hopefully reaches ubiquity so that, here I am in LA, I can just open up the Scorbit app, see what places have Scorbit and go pay for it with the money already in my account. And then I fly to Chicago and do the same thing and fly to Portland and do the same thing. And hopefully again, adding to the community and then giving players new ways to compete and new ways to win money.
So let's recap.
Yeah.
Scorbit started as just a way to pull out scores from a game.
Yeah.
And has now evolved into a platform for people to both pay for credits, run tournaments, and control certain aspects of games over multiple generations of games. You told me that 92%,
91% of all machines we are compatible with.
I was close.
You're close, very close. Yeah,
1%.
So assuming the line is in like 1977, solid states and onward. We don't work with EMs currently, although I know how we could, but we have to ROI is like there's not many EMs on location as you think.
Sure.
But
it's nice when there are though.
Yeah.
If you run an arcade and you have an EM in there.
Yes, like Silver Ball Museum, the place in Jersey, Asbury Park. Like,
sure.
Like
Ontil brings them in for most finals and always has Jungle Princess, Jungle Queen,
so good.
The 4-player Jungle Queen running
And someday we'll get on them, but so solid states onward. There's like the Hankins and the Zacharias that I love when I get to play them, but they're not on location either.
I'm assuming this is just because since those are European games, it's harder to find the people that worked with them to figure out how to where the CPU mapping is for getting that.
But then it's also I'm looking at the data from our friends at Pinball Map, and I'm looking at the data of how many Zacharias are on location.
Right, it's not a lot.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
There should be though. Those games are wild.
Some of them, for sure.
Exactly. And then all the way up through the moderns, and then on the most recent games, like we work on Stern machines up to Spike 2. We're not quite there yet on Spike 3, but we're hopeful we'll get there. But then the other, we're about to be on Pulp Fiction. The next code update for Pulp Fiction will include Scorbit in their code, so no hardware is required. So if you're an operator with Pulp Fiction, all you need is an internet connection and our tap pad, our NFC tap pad to enable people to tap into the game.
Will you be functional on previous CGC games as well, or?
Well, no. So that's the thing. So I would love to be. So like CGC, Barrels of Fun, Spooky, all those folks. We love those games. They're awesome. I know they're so focused on shipping games out the door, but when and if they want to come on the network, we have a free SDK that will help them implement that can get Scorbit in the game code and get it working. And we've gotten a lot of people asking for that. I always tell everybody, tell the manufacturers you want it.
If you had to say how much time it takes to integrate with a system that is on like a gaming platform.
A couple weeks. Like we're right now, Pedretti is doing it for. We're working on Funhouse, and that's and we're actively working with their developers, and it's awesome to be jamming with pinball developers. It's so cool, but but yeah, it's
like a game jam, except
When I worked in previous in my career, when I worked in tech and stuff like that, one of the worst things you ever hear is like, oh, it's just a couple of lines of code. But we built the SDK mainly to be a couple of lines of code, and depending on how they want to implement it, Because we also, in our first iteration, we built an achievements platform, which we're going to be bringing back in V2, which is going to tie into the competitions.
Can you make your own achievements?
Yes.
Can you make your own badges for those achievements?
That's in our roadmap. That is in the plan. Yeah.
Well, this kind of lays into my next question, because part of why I was saying where Scorbit came from to where it is now, where do you see Scorbit going for the future then?
Well, ideally, it's getting in as many locations as possible, getting as many people using it.
I meant for the platform itself.
No, yeah, and then getting feedback from those people. Okay. Like part of our approach with our operators is that we are not a here, buy our hardware, good luck, here's the instructions. We look at it like a partnership, and we're there working with them. And part of that partnership is giving us feedback on what they need, what they want, what
player. I mean, is there an opportunity for players to give feedback as well?
Absolutely.
What is the portal or avenue that is best for getting a hold of you for that?
Right now, email support@scorbit.io, and we flag anything that's feature requests and versus technical support and all that sort of stuff. But we want to hear from everybody as to, this is clunky, this doesn't work. Oh, I didn't understand that. Oh, it would be great if you could do this, and that will help us decide where we go. We have ideas. I mean, we have our team about a little less than half of our team are pinball community people, like Kate Martin from New York. She works for us. She's on our marketing team. Brian O'Neill, Allison O'Neill, myself. Right. So we have a whiteboard of all like our competition ideas. Like we're gonna do like pin golf like tournaments, speed run tournaments, like all these different kind of formats. We just need to build them, and part of it I want to hear what people want, because that'll help us prioritize what we build. And then beyond that, for the long-term future, we love pinball, but Jay and I, my co-founder, we became friends over our shared love of retro video games.
Sure.
So like, there's no reason why Scorbit can't work on Galaga or Pac-Man someday.
Hot takes.
Yeah, exactly.
Hot takes.
So we definitely want to see, and then anything that's in a location or recreation, whether it's axe throwing or skee ball or or cornhole or anything like that, anything that's competition is happening at a public location, we want to figure out a way to build the leaderboards, to build the competition, to allow you to drive that for those locations. So we love pinball, our heart's in pinball, but we definitely have aspirations to go bigger. But that said, I don't want to make the mistake of trying to do too much too soon.
For sure. Also, it's not pinball, so who gives a shit?
Exactly. But I want to get pinball dialed in and working like, pristine before we move on to like the next, to the arcade games and to things like that. So, because pinball's the best. So.
Pinball is the best.
It really is.
It is the best.
Yeah. What's great, I mean, what's so funny is that like this project and this whole thing has been so challenging because pinball is the best because it is so complex.
Yes.
And the number of problems that we've had to solve or figure out, or the weirdness, why Gorgar behaves a certain way, and
Gorgar does what he wants. You cannot control Gorgar.
So like the years and the hours of time that our team has put into trying to figure out every edge case and how, like, this one game does this weird thing. How do we figure that out? And sometimes we got to be like, guys, there's only like 10 of these on location. Let's but we want to make sure that it's bulletproof. So that's what we've been working on. So.
Yeah, pinball people do have opinions. If things don't work, they will let you know.
Now, they sure will. But I do want to add that Scorbit, when we initially launched, we sold the Scorbitron devices to home users and to streamers and things like that. They are still very much available, and that's an audience that we very much still want to support.
Sure.
So if you have pinball machines in your home collection, and you want your own scoreboard and leaderboard system, you want it to be automated, you want to tap into the stuff that Scorbit can build, Scorbitrons are available for sale. We're still selling them to customers, the very happy customers. We're working on new tools for streamers. I was just talking to DRI at Indisk about because he's a hardcore user of Scorbit and what things he wants on the screen. So that home user the homeowner is definitely still an important part of Scorbit as well. So.
But for them, they do have to purchase because there is no way to recoup costs when you're playing pinball at home.
It's a mod.
I don't know if you know this, but streaming pinball is incredibly lucrative.
Oh, I hear that you guys are making tons of money.
It rains those bills down. So I could see why you wouldn't want to take a huge cut of that to pay off that. Yeah. For people that have first generation systems of Scorbit, is there a way for them to add the POS system and other things to their modules?
So operators that are on the V1, we're actually actively working with some of them to upgrade their fleet, and so we're handling that. For home users with V1, we're going to be rolling out a program, like kind of a trade-in program. You know how like your cell phone, you can like trade in your cell phone.
I usually drop mine until it doesn't work.
I just throw it into the river.
Yeah.
But so basically, if you send us your V1 Scorbitron, you can get money back off purchase of a V2, right? Okay. So the idea is to have like an upgrade path for people to do do that.
Sure.
And again, like we wanted to be right by the community. You know, like we're not here to take advantage of anybody. So it's like, you know, oftentimes I talk to some people and they have problems or can't afford. Like, well, email us, we'll figure it out. We're small. You know, like we want to lead everyone to a solution versus just kind of and also on the flip side, I talk to a lot of operators, and if we're not a good solution for them, I'm like, okay, cool. You know, that's it. You know, just keep I'll keep you posted on what we're doing, and maybe someday we will be. Good luck.
Well, I mean, I think Scorbit provides a lot of interesting things, but do you need that as an operator or as somebody that's at home? And I feel like maybe you don't know that answer until you have a unit. You get to actually like experience what it is. Yeah. If people like tapping, even like getting the app or whatnot.
Because you mentioned seeing the scores on the stream, and it was like magic.
It really is cool.
That really is that had just happened at Indisc. So we were kind of live testing our tournaments feature at Indisc.
So I noticed that the refresh rate for the score at Indisc was a lot less than what I had seen in the past, because it was like real time in a fascinating way. Like when you hit spinners, it was just like
and that is we do love Carl. Carl's the best.
Yes. Carl is the best.
The Indisc scorekeeping that you saw on the stream is the merging of Scorbit feeding data to never drains and Carl doing stuff in never drains, and so there were some delays in that process. Yeah, so
for sure.
But Carl's the best. But at Indisc, we had a couple of machines off to the side. We had an Iron Maiden and a Metallica Remastered that were running the new Scorbit tournaments. And the way the platform works is that you add money to your app, kind of like Venmo. You add a credit card, you add you fund your app, and then in a coin drop, you can just say, add $1 to the machine, and it just the machine goes blink, and a credit appears.
Magic.
And then when you enter a tournament, you can buy an entry, and then we have an NFC tap pad, so you can tap in. That's how we manage identity. So I can't have you play for me and me win, to avoid that. We want to have
I can't tank Carl's score by just playing my normal ability level.
Exactly. But so we have a way to to similar to the QR code scanning for Insider Connected. That's how you tell the machine that's who you are. And then in the app, we have a start button in the app, and you press start and the game starts. You don't need to press the start button on the machine.
It's
magic.
Voodoo.
It's crazy.
It's voodoo.
Yeah, but you don't have to do it that way. Some people are like Kate, when we get in arguments at work, Kate is like, I like hitting the start button. I'm like, great, hit the start button. Like our whole thing is like flexibility. You could do it this way, you could do it that way, and so. But it all works magically.
Well,
it's a lot of fun.
I have to ask the most important question: Who won the Scorbit tournament at Indisc?
So we did two games, top four. I know Arvid was in there.
Okay.
Arvid won money. Alex Kelly from New York won. Jill from New Hampshire won. I think I forget it. Preston won some money. Joe Lemire won some money. Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
All right. Get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
While you're waiting for your opponent to finish their 45-minute game of Whitewater,
that's the thought.
You can play on the side Indisc.
So if you're going to be at TPF, we'll probably be there doing it again, and you can check out Scorbit at TPF, and we'll be doing a tournament there.
I will be at TPF, and
Dude,
I will join this tournament.
Yeah, we'll set you up. We'll walk you through it. Yeah. So.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I get to pinball's my job, and not have to get a job at Stern or Spooky or another company. Like you
get to work with them if they want to, or if they don't want to. They can still put the POS system in.
Yeah.
The operators can. So by extension, you're kind of working with them.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, our goal, we hope it would be nice to have one unified platform for payments, for leaderboards, for scoreboards that works across all the manufacturers and all that sort of stuff. I always refer to the Star Trek utopian world. Like when the doors in the Enterprise breaks, they're not like, wait, is this running Mac or Windows? Right? Like it's all universal, right? And so I know that's a little hard in our capitalistic society, and people want lock-in and they want to have it only works on this sort of thing.
No, but like having it be bulletproof, 100% working. I mean, I think I can speak for anybody who's gone to an arcade and has been like, forgot my tokens. Yep. And then you look in your wallet, you're like, I don't have any money to buy tokens. And then they don't take credit card to provide tokens. Like
this idea came from back in 2014. I was in Gestalt in San Francisco, a bar that's got pinball machines. And the guy who owned it was eccentric and told his bartenders not to give the pinball people change. They had a little change.
That makes sense.
They had a little change machine on the wall, one of those little boxes. And all the machines didn't have dollar bill mechs because the operator was an old school operator and only had quarters. And I was there having a beer, and I watched people walk up to the pinball machine, with $1, see that they can't do it, go to the change machine and the light was on because it was out of change, and go to the bartender. The bartender go, oh, sorry, you got to go to the laundromat 2 blocks down, and then they shrug and leave. And I was like, why this? We can do better, people. We can do this.
I'm guessing they aren't the operators for the game, so they don't care if they make money.
Exactly.
So that's frustrating for the operator who's trying to make a buck.
Exactly.
Pinball machines are expensive. I don't know if you're aware of that.
So adding another revenue stream for operators, we thought would be something that they would like. And so we're hoping the ones that are on board early get it. Again, the early adopters, they understand it. The ones who are on the fence, I'm like, great, see the results. We're going to build up some data. We're going to show people what this can, how the hope is that it increases the revenue for the location and thus keep the operator or the location in business so that you have another place to go play pinball.
And bring more people into pinball at the same time.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What was the original concept for the name Scorbit?
Score and orbit.
Okay.
An orbit in a pinball machine and score. Like I was just mashing up pinball words.
Did you ever think about calling it Score Orb?
No.
No?
No.
No?
No. Not once.
Anyways, so thank you so much for coming down, even though this was so impromptu. It was really enjoyable meeting you and learning more about what Scorbit is, past, present, and future. If you see, where does the POS system on it? Like, how can somebody know if they're on a Scorbit system?
It mounts on the apron.
Okay.
And it's got the Scorbit logo and it lights up. So hopefully it's not easy to miss.
Yeah, if you miss that, I don't know, man.
And I can say
sometimes people look at a pinball machine and they just miss like obvious things.
I can give you some photos or video if you want to put it into the video, and you can see the little thing. Like we have light shows and all this
animated
sort of stuff. Yeah, I talked to my friends at Disney Imagineering about the science of color and movement and light.
We have to praise the pyramid, obviously. But yeah, in the meantime, if you find a game that has Scorbit in it, check it out. If you're curious about Scorbit as a streamer or an operator, please go check out.
Yep. If you go to Scorbit.io, there's all the information there. If you're an operator, there's a form on the operator page where you can put in your information. We'll get in touch with you. And if you have any other questions, just email us at info@Scorbit.io or email, find me online or Ron at Scorbit.io. I'm happy to answer any questions.
There you go. Yep. Your questions answered and your games now connected to the internet.
Hopefully. That's the plan.
Ron, thank you.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All praise the Great Pyramid. Yeah. Bye.